what exactly makes an anime good? Is it the story, animation, or the combination of all that? Or could there be something that is there but we just don't notice it? Something that ties all the parts which make an anime good and makes it better by tenfold. And it is that very thing which Jujutsu Kaisen does better than 99% of the anime out there. That is also why by the end of this video, I'm going to convince you that there will never be another anime like Jujutsu Kaisen. But first, for it all to make sense, let's understand how Jujutsu Kaisen ended up at the top of the anime charts by looking at how Jujutsu Kaisen came to be in the first place. February 26, 1992. The writer of Jujutsu Kaisen with the pen name Gege Akutami and real name unknown was born. Akutami's first one-shot they ever made was Kamishiro Sosa, which is many parts that Jujutsu Kaisen has taken inspiration from, like the environment of the story and techniques like the veil. Since this was Akutami's first work though, it was not well polished or good in any way, and was also not successful. And while from our point of view this might seem like a small hurdle, for Akutami this meant waiting months or even years before being able to publish another manga. Things seemed to be down for Akutami, but in 2015, Akutami got to put out another manga, number 9, and this manga also brought its own concepts to Jujutsu Kaisen, like purses that non-sorcerers cannot see. And as you probably have realized, bit by bit, Jujutsu Kaisen was being pieced together through Akutami's older works. After this manga, Akutami went on to create Nikai Bongai Baraba Jura, which was nominated for Weekly Shonen Jump's 11th Gold Future Cup contest. And following that manga, Akutami proceeded to publish yet another one-shot named Tokyo Metropolitan Curse Technical School, which was Jujutsu Kaisen 0. And this one-shot got very popular, and through this, Akutami got an offer to serialize Jujutsu Kaisen as a Shonen Jump series. This was the dream outcome for Akutami, but this was also the worst period of life for Akutami, struggling with self-doubt on whether they could keep up with the top shonen manga at that time, and whether the series would get popular enough to continue serialization, while also having to meet deadlines. This led Akutami to play it safe with the story and use tropes of a typical shonen within Jujutsu Kaisen, which can be seen in the first couple of arcs of the story feeling more of a typical shonen battle series. But this also has to do with the fact that Akutami was not very experienced with Shonen Jump and its limits. However, another Shonen Jump comic, Chainsaw Man, was released at this time, which pushed the boundaries of Shonen Jump to its limits, and Akutami realized Jujutsu Kaisen could be much more, or at least that's how it went in my head. At the same time, the manga was also being looked at by many anime studios because it had gained popularity in Japan and quickly got picked up by Mr. Mopper to make an anime of. Long story short, it paid up quick. Obviously with great animation, a simple but just complicated enough story with badass moments and hot guys and girls, it took up the spot as a go-to first anime for beginners. And 2020, the year this show aired, was full of people starting anime for the first time. But the show was also popular among the other regular anime watchers, and even Japan as a whole. So it quickly became one of the most popular anime ever, with a Blu-ray average sale amount of 20,000 copies of the first season. Then the movie Jujutsu Kaisen 0 became one of the highest grossing anime movies of all time, with a revenue of $200 million. And so far, the sales figure of the season 2 Blu-ray is about 25,000, and for a good reason too. The anime of Jujutsu Kaisen has constantly pushed boundaries of animation, not in a creative sense but just raw pure animation. This is prevalent in almost all of the seasons of the anime, including the movies, and this was to be expected, as the studio animating the show was Mopper after all, who had shown the industry what was possible with shows like Finland Saga or Chainsaw Man. This is most prevalent in the second season's 16th episode, which animated the fight between the real King of Curses, Jogoat, and the fraud King of Curses, Sukuna, one of the most anticipated fights of the Shibuya Incident Arc. And to say it was amazing would be an understatement. It was Mob Psycho's second season's final fight taken to the next level, and on the sheer scale of animation, is probably the best fight I have witnessed in anime. However, some people still call the fight scene mid, and I don't know why. Someone please explain it to me in the comments, man. The 16th episode was only one of the examples, though a big reason of Jujutsu Kaisen's success is its animation. Even throughout season 1, fights like Gojo vs Sukuna and the Hanami fight against the two totally blood-related brothers was very well animated. The second season also had many amazing fights, excluding the Jogo fight, like the fight of Sukuna against Mahoraga, which was almost to the scale of the fight against Jogo. Not only just the fight, but the actual parts of the show is made much better in the anime itself, even though the adaptation of Jujutsu Kaisen is not completely perfect, with some pacing decisions being hit or miss. Yes, Mappa, the grasshopper fight was way too goddamn long, but for the most part, the story feels perfectly adapted from the manga. There isn't a feeling of holy fuck, they missed this in the anime you get if you read the manga, but it feels like the anime has taken the best parts of Jujutsu Kaisen and scaled it up to go onto the screen very well. But those are apparent on the first glance to many people. What people don't realize about Jujutsu Kaisen beyond these is the subtle storytelling that builds up the story. Like in between the casting of the special chorus art of Jogo, the show was able to build up a climactic moment using Sukuna, and moments like these, which just fill up the gap in the anime that the animation or story cannot, gets us more intrigued by the story and gives us a much better feeling of suspense, making the climax of the anime way better. Honestly, there's no way the anime of Jujutsu Kaisen is by any means mid. However, there are many people calling the anime mid. The first argument comes from the first season conforming to almost all of the major shonen trope and just playing around with fight scenes without any mind games whatsoever. And well, the storyline from the second season is honestly traumatizing. Like, as the second season stopped conforming to these shonen tropes, people started to now complain about the arc not having character development, mainly in the characters of Nobara and Itadori, and this is just plain up wrong. Nobara is literally fucking dead. No shit, she does not have character development, and Yuji went from an idealistic character to confronting the fact that he is a murderer of curses, the same way that the characters of Geto and Mahito murder humans without consideration. Yes, Jujutsu Kaisen has its flaws, and it's not a perfect anime by any means, but what most people post online about the show is just plain wrong. One of the things Jujutsu Kaisen pulls off that no show ever has managed to pull off, well, is disposing the main character from the story. Even without Itadori Yuji, the show does not lose its charm, and if we see Jujutsu Kaisen 0, sometimes the story is just better without Yuji in it. And this is true because, well, the manga did not use the character of Itadori Yuji for one whole year, and it barely affected anything. If Vinland Saga lost Thorfinn, Mob Psycho lost Mob, or if 100 Kanojo lost however the fuck many main characters it has, I'm sorry, but I'm not watching the show anymore. But if ever Megumi takes over Jujutsu Kaisen, I will have no complaints with the show. This means that Jujutsu Kaisen has the liberty to kill off the character of Itadori Yuji if the show demanded for him to die. And honestly, considering how many times he has died now, it is something that might happen in the near ending of the manga. My point being, will there be better anime than Jujutsu Kaisen with a higher production quality in the future? Yes. Will there be another anime which can tell its story like a movie and have excessive action without any fights feeling boring? Of course. But will there be another anime like Jujutsu Kaisen? Honestly, no.